It's another time with Tutor Ayo, the entire tutor. In today's tutorial, it's going to be a continuation on the course. Happens to be the continuation on the final tutorial we're having on the finalization phase of the course, BUS325. And today we'll be taking our bearing from what is called compensation. It's going to be a long one, and it's going to be more of explanation and less of writing. Please pay attention as we go into this class. With this being said, let's just get into it. So we have compensation as BUS325. BUS325. Speaking of compensation. Now, compensation, just a moment, I think I have it here. Compensation, as we all know, that it is a form of reward. Okay? Compensation is a form of reward. But it is basically, that's a basic look approach to compensation. There's more to that. And it is said here, according to Edomi Flippo in 1984, there are three purposes of employee compensation program. Okay? Compensation in an organization. Speaking of compensation in an organization, according to Flippo in 1984, there are three purposes of employee compensation program, and they are to attract what we call capable employee to the organization. Capable employee to the organization. Also, to motivate this capable employee towards superior performance. Motivation towards superior performance. And lastly, to retain them. Very important. We made mention of this in our previous class, that is unfortunate with all the resources and money spent on recruitment. To be very, very unfortunate that after all these resources is being spent, employees don't last. It's very, very, very unfortunate. So you also need to retain them, and one of the strategies to retain them, one of the strategies to retain employee is through a very good and attractive compensation scheme to retain their service. Retain their service. Now, we have that as that. Now, let's quickly talk about motivation. Okay? Now, from this point, you can develop anything you want to say about compensation. We can talk about compensation being, all right, a strategy or a scheme that an organization will look into in order to achieve three purposes. According to Flippo, they are: one, attract capable hands into an organization, motivate this capable hands to take upon higher and superior tasks, and lastly, retain these capable hands. So we have that as that. Now, speaking of motivation, motivation is related to the reason or reasons behind a particular action or behavior. According to what Douglas said, Douglas classified motivation under what is called movement called industrial humanism, and it is a All right, it is a movement standing of human relation theory and that of behavior sciences. According to Douglas, Douglas says it is what we call industrial humanism. Now, let's talk about some theory under motivation, but let's quickly take out this definition on motivation. It is said to be a reason, it is said to be the reason for acting, okay, reason for acting or behaving in a particular way. Now, motivation basically, all right, can be said to be that drive, the drive that gets employees working 247. That drive could be compensation, it could be reward, it could be remuneration, all right, but that drive that sprouts, that compels behavior geared towards certain goal can be seen as motivation. Okay, I think I did miss something here. Motivation. Okay, now let's take some theory. We have the conventional view theory X. The conventional view theory X. Now, this conventional concept of management tasks is harnessing human energy to organization requirements. That's a conventional view theory X. Conventional view theory X. Theory X. Speaking of which, harnessing, it is said to be a managerial concept or concept of management tasks. Harnessing, we have okay, that's harnessing human energy to organization requirements. Energy to organization requirements. And we have that under the conventional view theory X. So now we also have the carrot and stick approach. Management cannot provide a man with self-respect or with satisfaction of needs for self-fulfillment. It can create such condition that he is encouraged and enabled to seek satisfaction for himself. Speaking of the carrot and stick approach. Carrot and stick approach is said to be when management creates conditions that encourages conditions that does what? That encourages satisfaction. All right, satisfaction and good working conditions for their employees to help achieve what we call self-respect and satisfaction. Self-respect and satisfaction for himself. All right, self-satisfaction for himself. Okay, so we have that as that, and this is an approach under motivation. Okay, it's an approach under motivation. Now let's continue. Now let's talk about what we call career system. Career system. When we say career system, what are we talking about? Career system can be defined as the progression of an individual in a field of work throughout the employable years of his life. It is defined as a progression. The progression of and out the employable years. The employable years of his life. So we have career system. Career system, according to Flippo, again, Flippo says it is a sequence of separate but related work. It is what we call a sequence of separated but related work activities that provides continuity, order, and measuring a personal life. All right, measuring a personal life. Now let's take that again. It says, according to Flippo says career system is career is a sequence of separate but related work activity. Sequence of separate but related work activities that provides continuity, order, and managing, all right, continuity, order, and meaning in a person's life. And we have that as that. So we have classification of career system. We have the open and closed career, all right. Classification, we have open and closed. We have the open and we have the closed. So we have that as that. So very quickly, let's move on. Let's take communication in management. So permit me to raise the board so that we can take some points on that. I need to write that. Quickly erase some part of it. Now we have communication, as we all know that communication is a process, and this process involves minimum of two persons, a two-way thing. It's a process by which all form of information are transferred. A process by which all forms of information are transferred from, like I said, transferred from one person to another. To another. Okay, so we have the word communication is derived from the Latin word communis, which means common. It is derived from the Latin word communis, which means common. That is the etymology of the word. Now, in communication, there are models. Okay? In communications, there are models. We have the sender. There must always be somebody that sends the message. We have the receiver, the intended person to receive the message from the sender. There's something we also call coding, encoding. That is a process whereby the sender of the message writes the message. Alright? Encode simply means the original content from the sender of the message. It says here, this is the translating of mental thoughts, ideas of which into a code or language that can be used by intended receiver. In the encoding process, words, numbers, gestures, non-verbal elements such as facial expressions or picture are used. The encoding process is when the sender of the message is creating the message. Alright? When he is creating the message, it's what we call encoding. And we have the message, which happens to be the idea intended to be passed. Alright? Idea intended to be passed on. And the medium is the chosen means. Alright? There are varieties means, but it's the particular means you choose to send your message. It could be through telephone, could be through mail, alright, could be through the TV, whatsoever, through the magazine. We also have decoding. Decoding is when the receiver of the message tries to assimilate, understand what has been encoded, the message that has been encoded by the sender. So we have that as that. Okay, now let's proceed. Now, there's something called downward and upward communication. Downward and upward communication. Downward and upward communication. When we say downward communication, it's a type of communication, alright? It's a type of communication style that starts at the top management level, then goes down. From the top management level. And goes down from the top management level and goes down. Okay? Top management level and goes down. Okay? And we have the upward communication. Here, what is happening at the lower level is made known to the upper level through upward communication. Alright? It's the opposite of downward. A type of communication style, alright, whereby informations come from down to the top management level. So we have that as that. So we have also horizontal or diagonal communication. Here, when it takes place between two employees working at the same level, we have that as horizontal. Communication that takes place within two personnel working in the same level, that is horizontal. And we have the formal and the informal. Right? The formal is the one that is official. The informal is just between, right, it's unofficial. So we have barriers of effective communication. We have it's divided into two. We have the internal, there are more than two, about four of them. The external, emotional, organizational and personal. So we have that as that. So now let's go straight to what we call we have management development, the scope of management development. Now, by scope, it means the field management definition as an area of coverage. The scope here is to bridge the gap between present performance and the expected performance. Speaking of the scope of management development, talking about what is required to be developed within the management. All right, and we have certain things that needs to be considered. All right, the command of basic facts, relevant professional skills, and what we call analytic problem solving. All these we have them as that. Now, speaking of the methods, management development methods. There are different types of management development methods. So we have management development method. Okay, we have the formal training or on the job training. Formal / on the job training. You know, like we all know, on the job training is those training you get while practicing the job, while on the job, doing the job. Okay, and we also have off the job training. This is more of informal, of the job. Okay, of the job training having to do with things like case study, all right, business game, sensitive training, simulations. All this falls under off the job, like attending seminars and meetings, not while you're at work. So we have that as that. Now we talk about decision making. Decision making are made within boundaries set by many constraints, most which are the prevailing and on, all right, the prevailing features of social, political, and economic, technological environment. Now, decision making comes from the word deciding. Okay, I think we are back. That was the thing from network. Decision making comes from what we call deciding, the word deciding. So it is seen as a process of deciding, which is freedom to choose from among alternatives. Speaks of the freedom to what? To choose. Okay, the freedom to choose among alternatives. Don't forget, you only need to make it is because you have varieties of options. That's why there are no varieties, you have no options. But here, when it comes to making of decision, you have to consider a lot of things. So it has to do with that process of deciding, what do I need to do? What should be done? What is my best chances? What is my best option? Weigh your chances and consider your best option. So we have that. Now, let's talk about ethics. Ethics has been defined as the code of what? Code of moral principles. Code of moral principles. Ethics are said to be code of what we call moral principles and values, that does what? That governs the behavior of individual or group within a respect of what is right and wrong. Governs the behavior of individual slash groups in a particular field. So we have that as that. Now let's continue. So what are the elements of ethics in practice? We have discipline, good conduct, loyalty. Discipline, good conduct, loyalty, and the likes. Okay, so we have that as that. So let's proceed. Now we have what is called grievances. Grievances is said to be any discontent or dissatisfaction. Discontent, you are displeased, dissatisfied. All right, discontent or dissatisfaction, whether exposed or not, valid or not, arising out of any connected with the company which an employee thinks, believes, or even feels to be unfair, just, and equitable. When an employee is being treated illy, or he feels he's being treated illy, then it gathers what we call grievances. There are different approaches to disciplines. All right, now we have that as that under grievances. Now let's move forward a little bit. Now we also have conflicts. And when we say conflict, what are we talking about? Conflict is a condition. It is a condition that arises. Conflict is a condition that does what? That arises. This condition arises when two or more individuals or groups perceive their own interest as being challenged by others, and when strong feelings can be aroused. Now, conflict, we are talking about, it happens. It could be within and without. But generally speaking now, conflict is when two or more individuals or groups, when they perceive that their interest is being jeopardized, their interest is being rubbished, then feelings get aroused, and if it's not properly managed, it can escalate. So we have that as that. It can also be the dissatisfaction that affects organizational performance. Conflict can as well be seen as the dissatisfaction that affects organizational performance. So we have that as that. We are almost to the end of this class, and getting to the end of this class, and we have what is it here? We have turnover. I believe it's not a new word to us, something we must have been hearing before now. Turnover. Now, when we say turnover, what are we talking about? Turnover is defined as the movement into and out of an organization by the workforce. Simply put, the movement, the inflow and outflow of workforce in an organization. Inflow and outflow of workforce in an organization. So we have that as that. And we have the significance of turnover. Significant, what are the importance of turnover? High costs, all right? Hiring costs, training costs, pay of a learner in excess. What are the things that leads to turnover? All right, loss of production equipment when it's not fully optimized. A lot of things, just like reducing staff. A lot of things can cause it. No markets, no functioning properly of the employees. Production equipment not being fully utilized. Overtime pay may result as well. Trouble areas in the organization. All this we have as that. And lastly, for today's class, we have what is called retirement. Now, retirement is said to be a time when an employee reaches the end of his working life. Retirement. When an employee reaches, all right, the end of his working, the end of his working life. So we have that as that, and that brings us to the end of today's class. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been, all right, a journey so long, very far, and here we are at the last formation phase of this class. And next week, hopefully, we are starting with a fresh course entirely. So on this note, I'm giving us an assignment that is to be submitted for our next class with not less than 100 words. Write about the term one, management, 2, recruitment, 3, administration, then 4, compensation. So everything, this 4, right? At least everything in total should be nothing less than 100 words. Thank you very much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. You have a wonderful evening. Bye.